Madam President.
Senator from Louisiana.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I ask unanimous consent that Sid Gedge, a detailee at the Commerce Committee, be allowed floor privileges during the remainder of the day.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam President. Now I ask unanimous consent to speak as in morning business.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I come to the floor again to urge all of us to join together on a bipartisan basis and to reauthorize the National Flood Insurance Program, to do it now, to do it quickly, because time is running out. Madam President, on May 31st, the entire National Flood Insurance Program will expire. When the clock strikes midnight that day, it will be gone unless we act. And act we must. This is an important program for the country. In my neck of the woods in South Louisiana in particular, almost every real estate closing is dependent on this program because those properties need flood insurance for there to be a closing. That's very typical in many other parts of the country. And so here we are trying to get out of a real estate-led recession, trying to bolster the economy, and we're on the verge of letting the entire National Flood Insurance Program expire yet again. Madam President, what's so frustrating about this is there are not big disagreements about how to get this done. This is not an overly partisan issue. We are not bitterly divided. This is merely an issue of getting floor time in the United States Senate. The House has acted last year in a bipartisan way. The Senate committee on which I serve has acted. I've worked very closely with my subcommittee chair, John Tester. We've acted in a bipartisan way. We've put together a good 5-year reauthorization bill, but we need to move this on and off the Senate floor to get this done before the end of the month. And so, Madam President, again, I urge the distinguished majority leader, Senator Reid, to give this important matter floor time. We all come here and talk about needing to improve the economy. We all come to the floor and talk about jobs. Well, this is absolutely necessary in all of those categories, with all of those issues in mind, to extend the National Flood Insurance Program. And let's not just put a Band-Aid on it again and let it limp along with a very short-term extension. Let's do the full 5-year reauthorization, which we can do, which is well in sight. Madam President, groups around the country, particularly those working in the real estate industry in this part of the economy, strongly support this effort. And therefore, Madam President, I want to put into the record several items: a letter to Senator Reid and Senator McConnell, signed by dozens of associations all along the political spectrum urging this action. Also, I ask unanimous consent.
Without objection.
Also, another letter along the same vein addressed to Senator Tester, the subcommittee chair, and myself, the ranking member on the subcommittee, again, strongly supporting this effort. Let's do it now. This is the Smarter, Safer Coalition, and this letter is dated May 9th. I ask unanimous consent.
Without objection.
And also an op-ed in roll call written by 2 representatives of this broad coalition, again explaining the absolute importance, the critical nature of doing this full, longer-term reauthorization. I ask unanimous consent that that be placed on the record.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I keep coming to the floor urging this because it is so important and because it is so achievable. Again, there are not big issues dividing us. This is not a partisan issue. We just need Senate floor time to get it done. And Madam President, in that vein, I will be doing 2 things today and in the near future. First, I will be passing around to all members of the Senate a new letter addressed to Senator Reid to urge that this matter be put on the floor absolutely as soon as possible. We urge this on a bipartisan basis in a letter dated February 14th. 41 senators, both parties, signed that. This new letter restates that case, and of course now it's more urgent than ever as the clock ticks to May 31st, just 3 weeks and 1 day away. And Madam President, I will also be proposing an amendment to the next matter that comes on the Senate floor to incorporate the Senate bill with perfecting amendments that have been worked out toward the floor, to incorporate that amendment on that next bill on the Senate floor. My understanding is that will either be the FDA user fee reauthorization or a small business tax bill. Neither of those bills are bitterly partisan or highly divisive. And so I will be proposing as an amendment to either of those bills, whichever comes to the floor next, the full reauthorization of the National Flood Insurance Program along the lines the Senate committee has proposed. So again, I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to support that effort, and I urge Senator Reid to use that as a mechanism to get this done now, this month, before the expiration of the program. Thank you, Madam President. I yield the floor.